Princess Beatrice and Eugenie begin to distance themselves from their parents, the royal rift no one saw coming. Welcome, royal watchers, to Crown Chronicles, your ultimate destination for all the latest, most captivating stories from inside the walls of Britain's most famous family. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and join our ever-growing community of royal enthusiasts. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming, because today's story uncovers a quiet but undeniable shift that could redefine the future of two of the most beloved royal sisters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. For years, the daughters of Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson have been seen as loyal, family-first women, always balancing their royal heritage with a surprisingly down-to-earth charm. But according to multiple insiders and reports circulating through royal circles, there's been a subtle yet significant change in their behavior. Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie are beginning to distance themselves, not just from royal life, but from their own parents. And the reasons behind this growing distance might surprise you. Let's rewind a bit. Beatrice and Eugenie grew up in the shadow of one of the royal family's most scandalous chapters, their parents' famously rocky marriage and even more public divorce. Prince Andrew, once dubbed the Queen's favorite son, has faced waves of controversy in recent years that have made his name almost radioactive within certain circles. From legal troubles to mounting public criticism, the Duke of York's reputation has taken hit after hit, and then there's Sarah Ferguson, Fergie, as the world affectionately calls her. Once the fun-loving, vivacious duchess who brought laughter to royal events, she too has faced her share of controversies and reinventions. She's been everything from a tabloid target to a motivational author, from a scandal-prone ex-royal to a philanthropist trying to rebuild her image. For Beatrice and Eugenie, the daughters who have always adored their parents, this has created an emotional and public dilemma. How do you show love for your family while protecting your own reputations in a monarchy that's more image-conscious than ever? Sources close to the sisters suggest that both women are now taking quiet but deliberate steps to carve out their own paths, separate from the shadows of their parents. It began subtly. Beatrice and Eugenie started appearing less often in joint events with their mother, and when it came to their father, their public support grew increasingly restrained. While neither daughter has ever publicly criticized Prince Andrew, the contrast between their early vocal defense of him and their recent silence speaks volumes. At recent royal gatherings, royal watchers noted the sisters' seating arrangements, body language, and even their social media activity, all small indicators of a growing divide. Eugenie, once seen frequently at her parents' Windsor home, now spends much of her time between Portugal and London with her husband Jack Brooksbank and their children. Beatrice, meanwhile, has settled into her life as a working royal adjacent, not a full-time royal, but someone who attends key family events while focusing heavily on her private career and her husband Edoardo Mapelli Mazzi's business interests. Behind closed doors, palace aides reportedly appreciate their discretion. The king, in particular, has been said to admire the sisters' quiet dignity and their ability to avoid the kind of drama that once surrounded their parents. In a royal family still healing from the explosive aftershocks of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's departure, that kind of composure is invaluable, but make no mistake, this distancing isn't about rejection or coldness. It's about protection. Beatrice and Eugenie have learned the hard way that in the modern royal ecosystem, every association matters. Every photograph, every event, every family connection can shape how the world perceives you. And as the monarchy modernizes under King Charles, the spotlight has narrowed. Only a few senior royals, the King, Queen Camilla, the Prince and Princess of Wales, and their children, are truly front and center. Everyone else must define their role carefully, or risk being left adrift in the background. Beatrice and Eugenie have chosen to define themselves by their own achievements. Princess Beatrice has built an impressive career in business and technology, working with initiatives that support young entrepreneurs and sustainable growth. Eugenie, meanwhile, has become a passionate advocate for anti-slavery organizations, using her platform to fight human trafficking and modern slavery. They are royal women with purpose, but they're also aware of the fragile balance they must maintain between personal independence and family loyalty. Insiders describe both sisters as deeply loving toward their parents but increasingly pragmatic. One palace insider reportedly put it this way: they adore their father, but they can't ignore the reality that his presence complicates their lives. It's a sentiment echoed in their actions. When Prince Andrew was stripped of his royal patronages and military titles, both sisters were reportedly devastated, not because they disagreed with the decision, but because they knew it was necessary for the monarchy's survival. They've since been careful to show private affection but public neutrality, even Sarah Ferguson's recent re-emergence, including her growing presence on social media and her involvement in charity work following her breast cancer diagnosis, hasn't fully drawn her daughters back into her orbit. The girls love their mother dearly, but they've chosen to engage with her causes quietly, from behind the scenes, rather than publicly amplifying them as they might have in the past. In many ways, this marks a generational shift within the royal family, a move from the flamboyant, often scandal-ridden public life of the 1980s and 1990s to a more cautious, reputation-driven royal world. Beatrice and Eugenie are adapting to survive, to stay relevant without becoming controversial. There's also the influence of King Charles and Prince William, who have long been intent on slimming down the monarchy. With limited roles available and public scrutiny at an all-time high, the York sisters know that their best chance at preserving both their dignity and their family legacy is to keep their distance from the controversies of the past. Still, this newfound independence doesn't mean estrangement. Family sources suggest that behind the palace walls, there remains genuine affection. The sisters still visit their father privately at Royal Lodge, and they remain close to their mother, especially during holidays. But the tone of those relationships has shifted, less about public unity, more about private love, and perhaps that's what maturity looks like in the royal world, learning to love without being defined by it, as the next generation of royals comes of age, with George, Charlotte, Louis, and even Archie and Lilibet growing up fast. Beatrice and Eugenie's approach could set the template for what it means to be a modern royal outside the firm's inner circle. Independent. Graceful. Loyal, but not blindly so as the cameras continue to follow them, at weddings, charity galas, and the occasional Buckingham Palace event, watch closely. Every choice, every gesture tells a story of two women balancing their royal birthright with their hard-earned independence, and if recent signs are anything to go by, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie are stepping out of the long shadow of their parents and into their own light, quietly rewriting what it means to be royal in the 21st century. Thank you for joining us here on Crown Chronicles. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the evolving royal dynamics, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Your support helps us bring you even more exclusive royal insights and stories that keep the crown shining bright. Stay tuned, because in the world of royalty, even the quietest moves speak volumes.